Hola, mi gente. This is Sofia Carrillo from Mi Gente podcast. Before we start the episode, I wanted to take a minute to address the June 24th Supreme Court Justice decision to overturn Roe versus Wade. This decision stripped away the legal right and to safe and legal abortion. And restricting access to comprehensive reproductive care, including abortion, threatens the health and independence of all Americans, not just women. This decision could and will also lead to the loss of other civil rights and liberties. To learn more about what you can do to help, go to podvoices.help. That's podvoices.help. We encourage you to speak up, take care, and spread the word. Thank you.
What is up, mi gente? How you doing, Sofia?
I'm doing well. How are you?
All right, live with you on a
Yes.
Wednesday,
Wednesday. I know.
mi gente show, live, streaming live on all platforms. Twitch.tv/2 burrito, youtube.com/2 burrito, and today for the first time on Facebook on the actual Mi Gente show page, which I believe you can find by looking for Mi Gente on the Facebook app. So thank you everybody for coming on here. Get out of here, Travolta. You don't like Travolta on the Cat Jam video? I think it is. So Mi Gente show here. Thursday wasn't going to work for us, so we're going live a day early. Mostly focused today on the biggest topics, which was, as you saw from our thumbnail, has SCOTUS fallen? We're going to dive deep into it. If you have any questions, your thoughts, interesting anecdotes about this situation, or how you feel, please feel free to commence chatting, ask questions. If you come across the stream, please leave a like, a heart, a comment. It really helps out the algorithm. So make sure you give that, share it with your friends, etc., etc., etc. So we're going to jump right into the conversation, but let's jump
Give me a
into it.
moment. Hold on.
Oh, we get sips beer,
All right,
drinks
I'm
coffee,
ready.
hits blunt.
Yeah, but I'm mentally prepared because, man, shit.
So I guess
What a week.
the first thing is, wow. The Supreme Court SCOTUS has been on a tear recently. been angry a week. Thank you for touching this topic. Yeah,
Of course.
yeah, absolutely. We had to reschedule it because tomorrow wasn't going to work. So I was like, we definitely can't let
Yeah.
2 weeks pass before we talk about this.
Well, we weren't.
Uh,
Yeah, we weren't going to have a podcast at all this week, and then we with the topic, we were like, we have to do something this week for sure.
we must.
We must
The
for the
people demand.
gente.
All right. So obviously, before we get to that, we want to talk a little bit, a couple of things that happened in the news that otherwise we'd be talking about nonstop. But the first thing is today came out the R. Kelly got sentenced to 30 years for his sex abuse and case. So it is officially no longer cool to play the remix to Ignition, which is one of my favorite songs
Can I just say that that's
anymore.
the most upsetting part for me?
You can't no longer. This is the remix.
I know.
It's such a that's
Ah,
like a all-time party banger. No longer cool to. You must remove that from your playlist. I remember a couple of years back, even it came on because I have it on the playlist, and we were playing poker, and everybody was like, "Is it cool to still like this song?" So he went from into the closet to sharing a cell for the next 30 years, and that is just. He's still got other cases that need to close. So sayonara, farewell, bon voyage,
yeah.
R. Kelly. This is what happens when you run a sex cult. You were rich and famous and iconic, and now they're
And
going to have to recut the Space Jam movie to take your song out of it or something because I
oh
I believe I Can Fly, also one of the
no,
biggest songs
I
in the 90s.
forgot. Whoa, why did I forget all of the classics of R. Kelly?
Yeah, remix to Ignition and I believe I Can Fly.
And I
There's
could
so
do it
many. I mean,
and then the closet one, you're right. That was like a whole telenovela.
it was a whole thing.
Damn.
And what was in the
Damn.
closet were underage kids. That's
And a
what was in the
midget.
closet.
Don't forget the oh wait, a small
A little,
person.
a little
A little
person.
person.
Look at you. Look at you.
I went back to straight 2002 and I was just,
So that happened this week. I mean, I don't have any thoughts on it really, other than good for him. I mean, you fuck around, you find out. You do shit like that, even when you're rich and famous. You think, Maxine Gaswell, I think, also got sentenced to 20 years for child prostitution and
who's that one?
transitioning. The woman that she was with the airplane and the guy
Oh,
that
right,
didn't
right,
kill
right. Yes.
himself.
Yes.
What's his
Maxine
face? The
Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget.
Yes.
Her name. She also got
Maxine
20 years.
Gaswell, would you say?
I don't know. Some pedophile
Yeah,
white
Ghislaine
lady
Maxwell.
that was. But what was the guy that didn't kill himself? That did but didn't. What was the guy?
Right. Fucking. Oh my God.
I don't know. Whatever. She was his. She was his right hand woman. I can't say it.
Epstein.
Oh yeah, Epstein. Epstein
I
didn't
was
kill
getting
himself.
close. There you go. Yes.
It was
Okay.
yeah. Good job.
You win.
So R. Kelly gets 30. She gets 20. Um, and that's what happens. The only question with those areas is why isn't the list of people that she knows about, how come they didn't let her use that as a bargaining chip to get a lesser sentence? Is that ever going to come out? And a lot of people think the only reason that hasn't come out is because there's probably every billionaire is on there. So
Yeah.
that there could be other things, obviously, but that's definitely cold that happened. Also, recently, the last couple of days, the January 6th Commission has been putting out some hot fire. One of Trump's lower level aides testified yesterday that 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 she was there and Trump was saying during January 6th that he was all worried about his crowd size, which is something he's always been worried about.
About his size.
By the size of his hands and his crowds, and that as people were trying to get to the January 6th rally, they were not able to let more people into the general area because they had mags, which are these magnetic things that can search for weapons, and people didn't want to go through the weapons check because they had rifles and stuff. And he said, they're not here to hurt me. What do I care? Send them in, which was insane. That he thought that when people were saying hang Mike Pence, that he was like, maybe they should. That apparently he tried to grab this. He tried to do the ultimate crazy chick move and grab the steering wheel and said, take me to the Capitol. And so he wanted to be there leading the insurrection. He wanted to be there. He wanted to be the guy breaking down the shit. Like, so much.
Allegedly. I'm not to defend him, but this is all alleged so far, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's.
Okay.
I
It's
mean, she
testimony.
testified.
Yeah.
Now they are making this woman kind of out to be a hero.
Hmm.
Which I mean, she's MAGA. She's not necessarily like she's not doing this all on her own here. Um, and she like for example, this is one that I saw. Shiro.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, relax, relax. We,
Internet, calm
we
down.
we don't have to all of a sudden say she's a Shiro. She
No.
was definitely brave, but she was also probably under some duress and had to
Hmm.
testify. And she was honest when she did it. But let's take it easy here. Let's not say she's all of a sudden top dog or something like that, or somebody to be. She came through. She made him look bad.
Yeah.
Trump had a meltdown on his Truth Social site. Truth Social, great name, and everybody can chill the fuck out on that. So we shall see what happens and who else is going to testify. It is kind of a bit of a weird situation because Liz Cheney is a Republican and she is the one heading it. So um, I don't know. She's out there. She's out there taking one for the team. I wish some Democrats were were as strong as her sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But she's also just like a super staunch Republican, and all she's saying is, "Hey, um, we should probably not elect this guy anymore." Do you think at this point, with all this stuff that's happening, do you think that he has a chance to be president in 2024?
It's weird to say only because my pessimism is at an all-time high.
Mm,
Um, and we'll get to that with the Supreme Court, but I feel like it, the insurrection is just it's so severe to our democracy that it should not be taken lightly, and I feel like there should be severe repercussions, and I'm hoping that that's what comes from this. But then my pessimism and my political fatigue and everything gets the best of me, and I understand that everything is corrupt, and then I get really just like I feel like nothing is going to come out of it, and this guy's probably going to get off scot free, and he's probably going to get to run. I don't want to believe that. I hope that he gets something. Fucking time behind bars, even like I feel like that there's a serious case for that, and he should not be allowed to run. Um, but I guess time will tell. What do you think?
yeah. Mostly, I feel that as Fox News started showing the finally started showing the trial
Hmm.
and their viewership dropped because they don't want to even watch it. They don't even want to say it. So the first thing is that the first thing that the right wing or MAGA tries to do is compare the January 6th insurrection to the BLM protest from 2 years ago, the George Floyd protest, all of
Right.
the black action, brown action sort of protests that happened where they were destroying storefronts, burning stuff, things like that nature, and they're
Yeah.
like, and they have facts. They're like, more people died during these protests than the January 6th insurrection and all these other things. But there is a very clear difference between protesting in this country, which you have the right to do, to peaceably assemble and protest, and trying to storm the Capitol while there are verifying the election results. Those are
Hmm.
two different things. One of them is about systemic racism, about violence towards people of color, oppression, and literally cops slaughtering brown people in the streets.
Hmm.
The other one is about angry white people because their chosen puppet or non-Christian Christian
Didn't didn't win.
didn't win.
It's a tantrum.
Now, yeah, there's a tantrum. The second part of it for me is that as always, I always look for when the Democrats and Republicans switch sides on an issue, which we'll be talking about during the abortion debate as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, you can sort of equate it, but it's a much worse offense, I think, to storm the Capitol, to destabilize a country, to threaten the life of the vice president, to be the president who is okay with the life of the vice president being being
Mhm.
threatened, and all the things that came
Yeah,
with that. So
Everyone was on the Senate floor as it happened. They all had to be freaking escorted out. It
yeah,
was, yeah, it's a traumatic experience for a lot of them. And these people, what would have happened if they got their hands on AOC? But
right. And then
Mike Pence, anybody, just really like
yeah, they were ready to hide. They were screaming, yeah, AOC, Nancy Pelosi. They would have gotten beaten.
Pelosi.
It would have been, and even if even if they wouldn't have been killed or raped or kidnapped or executed or hung, the Capitol Police would have had to shoot a shitload of people to get them off them. Probably it
Mm-hmm.
would have been an entire clusterfuck. There was
Yep.
a lot of brave people there. There's a lot of misinformation out about why didn't they call the National Guard, who was in charge of that. There's a lot of stuff there, and Trump's main defense on it is, well, why aren't we talking about the election results? I personally should think that Congress should do a full investigation of the election just to shut them up. Just be like, all right, where's the evidence? Let's look at it. All right, let's put it up on the screen. What do we have here? They recounted Arizona and Biden still won. Oh shit. Okay, let's go to Michigan. Let's go to. I would want to do that just to shove it in their face. Like, okay, yes, because a lot of the stuff is just we heard, we saw a van,
Mm-hmm.
we did this. They
But
had stuff.
supposedly they have already done that. Like there's already been proof after
Yeah,
proof
it
that
was a
like
lot of
it's
those things. Yeah, a lot of those things that they said
recounting.
were proven. They said we have the information, and then they just didn't show up with the information. And then, oh, we forgot it. And then all these people that released the Kraken, and it was the accounting firm, and it had to do with Venezuela and China, and I've heard every single thing said about it. So
Yeah.
anyway, that continues to happen. I'm sure we'll touch on it week to week, depending on what happened. But a bunch of big bombshells on about it. This happened. I'm trying to find
Mm-hmm.
a couple of tabs that I had. Give me a second here. All right, let's take a look at Casey Hutchison's testimony here.
Mm-hmm.
Stage announce area tent behind the stage. He was very concerned about the shot, meaning the photograph that we would get, because the rally space wasn't full. One of the reasons, which I've previously stated, was because he wanted it to be full and for people to not feel excluded because they'd come far to watch him at the rally. And he felt the mags were at fault for not letting everybody in. But another leading reason, and likely the primary reason, is because he wanted it full and he was angry that we weren't letting people through the mags with weapons, what the Secret Service deems as weapons and are weapons. But when we were in the offstage announce tent, I was part of a conversation. I was in the vicinity of a conversation where I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't ethically think that they have weapons. They're not here to hurt me. Take that thing mags away. Let my people in. They can march the Capitol from here. Let the people in. Take that thing mags away. In this particular instance, it wasn't the capacity of our space. It was the mags the people didn't want to come through. And that's what Tony had been trying to relate to him that morning. It's not the issues that we encountered on the campaign. We have enough space, or they don't want to come in right now. They have weapons that they don't want confiscated by the Secret Service. And they're flying around the mall. They can see you on the mall. They want to march straight to the Capitol from the mall.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, completely legitimate, all cool, nothing more to see here.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that the only thing that changes there is that more people are coming forward. They threatened the State of the Union. They threatened. It's different. It's not the same thing. It wasn't necessarily a riot. It was an insurrection. It was an insurrection. And then even Marjorie Taylor Greene, when after the abortion thing came out, and AOC was out there saying stuff. She was like, AOC is inciting an insurrection. Anything that happens from this moment forward is her fault. Like going absolutely nuts. And she was like, no, let me explain to you what the difference in insurrection is, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of like the gist of everything that's happening now. All right, I have one.
I have not been tuning in. as much. I just kind of hear, the gist of it. But oh man,
Here's a
have you been
sticker.
watching it live?
Here's some.
Let's see.
Because apparently he grabbed the Secret Service guy by
Oh
the
my God,
by
Lou.
the by the neck with his little hands.
Oh,
Sir. Well, I mean, he rejects that, and if you look at how
I just have
those
to
vehicles
say
are made, it's kind of difficult for him
a little
to
bit.
do that. So I don't know if it's all 100% legit. But yeah, so January 6th continues to happen. We did R. Kelly and the child abuse cases January 6th, and then the other sad case that happened this week, which is incredibly sad, is the trailer full of immigrants found at the San Antonio border trying to come into the country. First, they thought they were 46, and now they've confirmed the number is above 50. Some of them kids, all of them trying to come to the United States for a better life. And sad part of this, obviously, for me, is that the same people that are talking about the sanctity of life, protect every life, protect every soul, life begins at conception, could really give a fuck about brown or black or poor lives after they're out of the womb. And I didn't see any thoughts and prayers or any calls to action or anything like that. Yes, I can hear your squeaky toy. Call to action, etc.
Let me go get it. Hold on.
No, that's fine. Regarding this story, as I saw with other abortion stories that are coming up, and the Republicans were quick to jump on the. Maybe you should grab it.
Yeah, no, she gets crazy. I'm telling you, honey. Come here.
Heidi, stop
Bring
with
it.
the squeaking.
Bring your toy. Bring your toy, mommy. Thank you. Mine now. Got it. It's an avocado toast squeaker. Sorry. Continue. Back to serious stuff. Sorry.
Back to serious. Look, so this is incredibly a sad topic to even bring up. But if you're pro-life and you want to be pro-life and you're really pro-life, then you should really be about life. And when 50 people die suffocated in a trailer because they were trying to get into this country to find a better place to live and to have a better life for themselves, and all you can say is, this is because of Joe Biden's failed open border policies. If we had open border policy, why the fuck would they be in a truck trying to smuggle into the U.S.?
Exactly. Oh,
they didn't walk in. They didn't get a cell phone and $10,000 and a ticket to anywhere in the U.S. like they lie and say that immigrants do. They were trying to get in. I don't know. Apparently, the driver was high on meth, and I don't know what the fuck happened. This is like a storyline from the second season of The Wire, where there was a bunch of like Russian or European prostitutes in a shipping container, and they all died. Unfortunately, this is real. This is something real that happened, and it breaks my heart that after we lost 20 plus little brown kids in Uvalde, all of a sudden at the border we lose 50 souls that just wanted a better life. And unfortunately, we can almost blame ourselves, because who are the people that are bringing them there? Coyotes and people that work at the border and stuff like that. And it's just a sad it's a sad state of affairs how little human life values. And it's also interesting that the people that say they value human life pick and choose which lives they value more. So we will be covering this more as more things happen, but I did want to at least touch on it and a couple of the other news stories before we moved on to our main topic of the day. Do you have anything to add on that?
No, I think you said everything that I would have said. It's just disgusting how people can call themselves pro-life, but then when it actually comes down to like losing life and the actual living, they don't have much to say. It's all justify. It's disgusting.
Now, SCOTUS. SCOTUS. Has SCOTUS fallen? Let's jump into it.
It's like, yes. Deep breath. Jesus, are you okay?
No, I was just catching up here.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, this shit happens once a year. Yeah, it happens a lot more than people want to really believe. It happens all the time. Crossing the border is one of the hardest things that to have to do. The natural border with no barriers is miles and miles and miles of harsh terrain, natural rocks, mountains, everything. It's not an easy thing. You can't just walk across. You can't just go to the end of the border and then cross in. It doesn't happen. So bro, these people are gone mad. It has nothing to tell you know it, and I know it. Hey, Keithan, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate that. They say super tolerant liberal says we care about U.S. citizens, not illegals. Yeah, I mean it's pretty clear that they care. They care about U.S. citizens that haven't been born yet, not necessarily ones that are still around. So that's kind of what it is. But so
also
we have
just the usage of aliens is very like dehumanizing. So
yeah, no, yeah, we're all Earthlings, right? We're not
illegal
aliens.
Illegal,
No, you can't be. What is the thing? You can't be illegal on stolen land.
exactly.
Formulate. But anyway, jumping into it, SCOTUS was on a tear the last few weeks. First, they struck down Miranda rights for in certain cases. Then they went for civil liberties in other places. One of the stories that we had covered a while back about the football coach,
prayer in schools,
prayer in school, and him being fired for leading the prayer. Now that's okay. So they said that New York State could not prohibit people from carrying guns in public. So in that case, they said we, the federal courts, have the right to tell the state what to do. In abortion, they said no, we, the federal court, do not have the right to tell the states what to do. But they did have the right to tell what to do in Maine when they wanted to force them to pay for religious education in terms of their educational vouchers. This is very clearly a coup by the right-wing white Christian state, right? This is because I guarantee you, the minute a Satanist or a Muslim tries to lead, the soccer team in prayer, they're gonna get fired and they're gonna make a big hubbub about it. So that's not a big thing. They literally are trying to destroy the separation of church and state. That's next. Resident crazy person Lauren Boebert said this.
We love her.
Do we?
Had so many overreaching regulations in our nation is because the church complied. The church is supposed to direct the government. The government is not supposed to direct the church. That is not how our founding fathers intended it. And I'm tired of this separation of church and state junk that's not in the Constitution. It was in a stinking letter, and it means nothing like what they say it does.
Amen, sister. Amen.
The reason we had
that room was all white.
It was all white. I thought her speech was all white.
Yeah, turn it off. I can't. Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating to see how much they support idiocracy, stupidity. Not knowing is viewed. Being ignorant is viewed at a plus. It's not viewed as a red flag that somebody is dumb and doesn't understand things, doesn't have reading comprehension, can't really look at history and learn from it. It is looked as a positive. And saying ignorant, stupid, crazy, malignant shit gets you cheers. The way for these Republicans to win their battles, win their primaries, she was getting primaried, but she won, is to just be as batshit crazy as possible. And her and Marjorie Taylor Greene and all these other people just say the dumbest fucking thing, and they get away with it. Colin Kaepernick, who didn't force anyone to kneel with him, lost his career and livelihood, but a Christian football coach who retaliated against players who didn't join him in prayer was just celebrated by the Supreme Court. Welcome to American crystal fascism. That's another hot take. So the Supreme Court starts making its own facts, starts getting into the meat of it: religion, guns. Trump got 3 appointees. Now, we're going to jump into the abortion thing, but a lot of people have been talking about who is to blame. Sorry, Keaton says the first thing Trump did as president was a Muslim ban. People forget that. Then he locked Mexican kids up. Yeah, he continued to keep Mexican kids locked up. That was already an existing policy. They just enforced it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not to defend Trump, but Obama was
it was a policy that was
well.
there, but then they got in there and there's a policy where you can lock Mexican kids up. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So I see a lot of things as like reactionary in terms of who do we blame, and a lot of it comes down to blaming the people that didn't vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016.
Because, oh my God, we're on this again, Jesus.
Because basically, what those basically what a lot of people are alluding to is that if everybody would have just shut their mouth and voted Hillary 2016, we wouldn't be here, which is partially true.
If they would have put a better candidate than Hillary fucking Clinton, we would have voted for them. What the fuck?
If the DNC hadn't fucked over Uncle Bernie twice, Comrade Bernie.
Don't piss on my face and tell me it's raining, okay? Jesus.
Yeah, you got to remember, Obama let them sidestep the fact that Obama was so confident. Oh, you're not going to let us approve Merrick Garland because it's only a couple of months before the election. All right, Hillary's got this in the bag. It was overconfidence by the DNC. Overconfidence by the DNC. They were so convinced that Hillary was 100% guaranteed to win that they fucked over Bernie 2 times. Same way they fucked him over before the South Carolina primary with Biden.
Yep.
They fucked him over, even though he would have been a clearly better candidate against Trump. They didn't realize how much people really hated Hillary. And Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were friends with Trump, and they wanted him to run. They pushed him to run. They said, you should run, Donald. And Donald wanted to run not because he wanted to win, but because he thought it would be good for his brand. Because
good publicity,
He didn't
they
expect
are
to
the
win.
same person.
So I am not blaming the people that didn't vote for Hillary. Yes, technically you could say if more people would have voted for her, we wouldn't be in this mess. But like I said, I blame the feckless DNC and their inability to realize what we actually want and them catering to their corporate overlords.
Yeah.
And the result is we have a 6-3 right-wing majority in the Supreme Court of the land. Now, if we had a 6, now let's look at the other side. If we had voted for Hillary or Uncle Bernie, we would have a 6-3 majority the other way in the courts. At that point, couldn't the right sort of get angry because we would have codified Roe v. Wade, we would have probably codified gay marriage, all these other things. So if you win election, like we say to Republicans and Republicans say to Democrats, elections have consequences. That's what they threw in our face. That's what you throw in their face. That's why you get mad and blah, blah, blah. Elections have consequences. So if you're a Democrat and you're mad and you're going to blame it on the people that didn't vote for Hillary Clinton in 2016, you're going to, technically you can make that argument. But if you really look into it, then you really have to take a look at what's happening, what the DNC did to Bernie 2 times. Yes, we're live. And all the things that happened between then and now.
Yeah, like you said, Obama could have appointed somebody. He had a chance. And then RBG could have also retired. There's a number of things that could have happened aside from fucking, Clinton was not president. That's not the end all be all.
Yeah, they thought they had it literally in the bag. Hillary's going to win. They even used the Jacob Javits Convention Center, which has a glass ceiling, because they wanted to have the ceremonial breaking of the glass ceiling for her. She said, "This is but people hated her."
Yeah, and the thing is, and I hate when people talk about it's sexism. It's because we're not ready for a woman president. No, it's because we had Obama for 2 fucking terms where he just continuously fucked the working class over again and again and again. So people, I didn't even blame too many people for voting for Trump because I was pissed at that point. If I was a Mexican, I probably would have shifted too, because he was so blatantly racist against Mexicans, you know. But like, if he hadn't had that rhetoric, like, yeah, he's stupid, but like, I was so pissed at the DNC. No, like, you know, so I don't blame people that switched over to Trump. I feel like more people did the switch versus the people that voted third party. And everyone likes to shit on the people that voted third party. But the real problem, in my opinion, is the people that went from voting for Obama for a second term and then shifted to voting for Trump. That was the majority of people. He convinced a lot of people.
And a lot of people sat out too. A lot of people sat out, you know.
Yeah,
so if you want to say
that's
people
true.
were, but you can't, like you said, like a lot of people felt that they were not being represented because you had all these young people that are like, okay, I'm gonna get into politics, and oh my God, look at Bernie Sanders. He's got progressive ideas, and he's an old guy, but we're young people and we're behind it. And then they're like, no, no, no. DNC don't like Bernie. He's going to make too many changes. Our corporate overlords want something that just kind of keeps things going the same way. Like Obama, who didn't do shit, who had a 60-40 Senate, who had a supermajority and didn't get shit done. Still deported more people than any president, droned more people than any president, you know, gave people free Obama phones and really was more of a, you know, there. But I think obviously things didn't work out. All right. Catching up here, Cyro says religious freedom for those who think like us and believe what we believe. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
And, I have an example of that right here. Thanks, Cyro. All right. This is
President Trump, on behalf of all the MAGA
she's saying the quiet part out loud in this one.
President Trump, on behalf of all the MAGA patriots in America, I want to thank you for the historic victory for white life in the Supreme Court yesterday.
For the victory for white life. White life. I want to thank you for the historic victory for white life. She's saying the quiet part out loud. This is all about preservation of the white race. Democrats are cucks. Republicans are the devil. I'll say it again.
I'm making a t-shirt for you.
Keithan, Hillary actually won, but the electoral college fucked that up. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, the popular, yeah.
He lost the popular vote. He lost the popular vote. People of color need to understand white voters live in the same household neighborhood as Trumpers, and these people are violent. It's a real problem. Absolutely. And Enslaved by Vegetables, thanks for stopping by, Craigers. Enslaved by Vegetables, they funded the far right thinking it would make them look normal and weird, but a fact part. Yeah, they encouraged Trump to run. They wanted him as an adversary because they felt it would be so easy to beat him.
Yeah.
Which normally would have happened, but no, they fucked up.
And all of these are good points. So and you know, they're all valid and they all add up to the reason why she lost. And so it does piss me off when they immediately just like use the third party voters as a scapegoat. Like, oh, if you didn't vote for Bernie, you know, it's because of you young kids that didn't show up, or like stupid reasons like that. This is like, okay.
Put on your big boy pants and vote blue. Fuck off.
Blue no matter who. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And really, the reason that I say Democrats are cuck, Republicans are the devil is because they do horrible, stupid shit like this, and they don't have any account of. Look, one of the best memes I saw this last week was basically regarding you know, this right here. Let me pull it up. I posted this before, but you can throw the switch at any time, but then you won't be able to use the threat of the trolley to fundraise anymore. You know, Democrats don't want to solve the problem. They want to be able to raise money because of the problem that's available. They don't want to solve immigration. They want to raise money because they want to act like they're the party that actually will solve immigration. They want to, and one of the things that I said myself on Twitter, which this isn't Star Wars. You know, this isn't you having the high ground does not mean anything. Just because you have the moral high ground, are correct about a certain issue morally, does not mean that you does not help. Republicans don't give a fuck about having the high ground. They are too busy gerrymandering state districts, controlling state capitals and state Congress and state Senate, and putting their money into elections and putting their money on grounds. They're going after school boards so that they can be in charge of what they teach your kids. They're trying to win school board elections, local elections at the base level. The grassroots, boots on the ground effort is a lot more powerful than you think. They are out there trying to get this shit done. And all the Democrats do is this: I'm going to create a donation email that is so urgent. Right? Because that's what they'll do within a day of this. And listen, you have to also remember, we knew this was happening. This was leaked about a month ago. We knew that this was going to happen. We got the leak. And still they acted like nothing was going to happen. They didn't do shit leading up to it. They didn't say, hey, if this happens, we're going to do A, B, and C. Right? They didn't do shit. Now, another part of this is that they're talking about the fact that they lied.
Yeah.
That's a case that's litigated. It could, its contours could come up again. In fact, do come up. I can't express views on cases or pre-commit to approaching a case any particular way.
One of the important things to keep in mind about Roe v. Wade is that it has been reaffirmed many times over the past 45 years.
Again, I would tell you that Roe versus Wade, decided in 1973, is a precedent in the United States Supreme Court.
The legitimacy of the court would be undermined in any case if the court made a decision based on its perception of public opinion. It should make its decisions based on the Constitution and the law.
There's nothing in my personal views based on faith or other sources that would prevent me from applying the precedents of the court faithfully under principles of stare decisis.
I do not have a position to share with you here today on the proper, whether or not that case was properly decided.
All right. So here's the second part of that. Should Supreme Court justices be subject to removal, prosecution, impeachment because they technically lied under oath when they were presenting their case?
Yes, fuck yes. And that was actually the link that I sent you. It's the same video, so you could just log out that one. But no, they absolutely should. That was kind of gonna go to like the last part of what we should do, because I feel like what we can do is definitely fight. Democrats need to fight. They're cucks. They're not going to. But what we could do is we can use the other branches of government to take them to trial and fucking do an impeachment. They need to be impeached. Okay, this is not okay. They are okay. First of all, remember the times when the Supreme Court justice was supposed to be impartial and not political at all, and you can see it from their rulings. Like they had good justifications, and it was very much what the majority of the people wanted. And you couldn't really pinpoint if they were Democratic or Republican or whatever. These people are fundamentalists, like right-wing Christian, like they're far, far right. And so to have 6 of them in the Supreme Court justice is just, you can't expect them to be unbiased at all. And that in itself should be enough grounds for impeachment, but I know that they would have to go to trial. And I think that if we're going to stick onto anything to get it evened out, it would probably be the fact that they lied, because they did. We have them on record as a video. And so for them to just, clearly it's a coup, as you mentioned earlier. Clearly they have an agenda and they lied in their hearing. And I think that if we're going to have any grounds for impeachment or to, I don't know, hold them accountable in any sort of way, it would have to be that video that you just showed.
Yeah, I think that I agree. I don't know, because I think that we got to go back to it, right? Elections have consequences. If Democrats would have won, if Democrats would have been the ones putting those Supreme Court justices forward, they would have asked Merrick Garland, and I'm pretty sure they did. How do you feel about Roe v. Wade? Do you feel, how do you feel about this? How do you feel that? I saw an article, and I don't necessarily agree with it because I do know they were lying, but I do feel that there is a part where they were in a job interview. They were in a job interview that makes you one of like the 9 most
Do
powerful
you know
people.
how to use Excel?
Do you know? Yeah, they were being. But I do know that 2 of the people that are in the Supreme have both been accused of sexual assault. One of them was accused of rape. One of them was accused of putting pubic hairs on a Coke bottle for Anita Hill. And just so you guys know, Uncle Bernie was one of the people that was grilling Anita Hill back in the days. So, let's not forget Bernie's record on this is not necessarily magical. You're talking about a president and Uncle Brandon that was literally against same-sex marriage until like 2010. Joe Biden completely went up ahead Anita Hill in Supreme Court rulings. George Biden, Biden is always, he's a centrist, and he might as well be. He could have been just as easily could have been like a left leaning Republican. Biden is definitely the worst president we could have. Like I said, the literal reason why I think he's better than Trump is because checks notes. He's not Donald Trump. That's the main reason that people voted for him. We would be in a utopia if we had President Bernie right now, Comrade Bernie. Instead, we have Uncle Brandon. So yes, and yes, Swagmaster, I should open more tabs. I only had 97 open to start. I'm down to about
Oh my
80.
God!
But yeah, thank you. That is sick.
Lou.
Let's see what enslaved by vegetables. Republicans are not the devil. The devil is hidden and intelligent. Republicans are out in the open with their ignorance. It's Democrats that are the devil pretending to be the angel. I don't know. I think that
That's layered. There's a lot to that onion. Hold
there's
on.
a lot to unpack. I do agree that that Republicans. I mean, I don't know. Listen, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm a leftist. I'm a socialist leftist. I don't. I hate Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. They're horrible people. They are, like I said, the only reason I think they would have been better than Biden is because even though I call Democrats cucks, they are evil because they will run on a platform about issues that and never claim to solve them. They will never try to solve them. And this is why more Latinos than ever are leaving the Democratic Party, because it's a bunch of bullshit. They think everybody's the same. They think black people are a monolith, Latinos are a monolith. They think as long as they maintain the high ground on like I said, Al Franken is the perfect example of the difference between a Republican and a Democrat. Al Franken gets a picture with his hands on top of a girl's boobies in an airplane who's sleeping, not even touching her. Oh my God. I have to resign in shame. There's literally Republicans that are being accused of trafficking minors across state lines for sex and paying them through Venmo.
Yeah.
And
grab them by the pussy.
They're saying grab, but they're not. They are shameless. So I believe they're both evil. I believe that they're both repugnant in some cases, but I do believe that if we're taking account, there's probably a little bit more. The Democrats are a little bit more on the right side of certain issues that are important to me.
They're more progressive when compared to
the progressive, the left side are there.
Because on the left they're progressive as in what?
My RAM just called 911 because of all the tabs. RIP my PC.
God.
If I crash, you will know that it's because of my 97 tab.
Jesus.
And Republicans probably had more abortions than Democrats. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah.
One of the things that was trending this last week was this tweet about Ivanka, and basically people saying, "Hey, have you ever been taken to get an abortion by a Republican senator or by a right winger? If so, share that information." Because this is not going to change anybody. This isn't going to change healthcare for any elite. Mm-hmm. If you are rich, you will always have the ability to go. You will always have the ability to go across state lines, go on a camping trip, go on a skiing trip, go different places, and get healthcare that you need. This is mostly going to affect brown and black people, indigenous people that are poor, and people, which is kind of weird to me because like I said this before, if what they want is a white ethno state and like a white Christian paradise, salute. My God, you have a dog, you're sneezing.
Oh my
How
gosh.
unprofessional are
I'm
you?
allergic to this dog. She wants the toy that I took away earlier.
Tell her to calm the fuck down. All right, we're talking
All right,
serious here. Come on.
I'm muting
It's
myself.
very unprofessional. So if we're talking Republicans, Democrats, both evil, both pieces of shit. There is a little bit more good, I think, on the left side in terms of Democrats. There's a couple of people, AOC, Bernie, a couple of people that at least you can get behind. The Republicans have been taken over by the fringe. First, it was the Tea Party, then it's the MAGA Party, and really, it is a party that has the control of the most powerful institution, judicial institution in the land, and also has the ability to make rules that affect 100% of the population, even though the people that put them in power represent less than 30% of the populace. The people that got Trump elected, that are staunch Republicans, that are DeSantis fans, that are Greg Abbott fans, that are fans of Marjorie Taylor Greene, that are fans of Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, these people are in total 30 to 35% of the country at most. And they have, because they are not cucks, changed laws, gerrymandered districts, abused rights, no issues going forward and being an assholes because they do not care, because they just want to win, while Democrats just want to be right and be able to raise money on that. Sophia, your thoughts?
No, I mean, I completely agree. For me, I think that was interesting in Enslaved by Vegetables, how he mentioned that Democrats are evil and stuff like that, because I don't disagree. Listen, I think that both sides are evil in a different way. My thing and what really differentiates the two and truly makes the right wingers truly like disgusting is the fact that at least on the left, it's like stagnation. I don't want to say progress, because we don't really progress under them, but at the very least we stagnate and then we get a little bit of stuff here in between, right? But with the conservative side, it's not even stagnation. It's literally about taking us back to the fucking 1920s, to the fucking 1800s. It's about making America great again. It's about taking us back and literally killing any progress that we have made as a country. It's about not making arguments on policy at all. And that is my thing. For me, and the reason why I talk so much shit about all Democrats, basically except Bernie, is because Bernie is the only fucking person that will talk policy. I don't take you seriously if you refuse to talk policy. And the Democrats don't talk policy. They just want to pander, but they want to look good, and they just want to maintain peace, you know? Give us a little nuggets here and there. The right side panders to the racist, to the sexist, to the gun-owning, Merca people, because they're uneducated, they're poor, and they don't know who to be angry at, and so they shift that anger to, oh, it's the libtards, it's the immigrants, it's everything except the rich people on the top that refuse to build good policy for you. We are all in the same working to poor class, and we should all be working together. The problem is, on the right side, they fall for the pandering. And so, anyway, long-winded way of saying, it's different when one side is at the very least stagnant. They're cucks, they're assholes, they're dumb, right? I don't like them, Democrats. But on the right side, they do arguments not in good faith. They refuse to have any policy. They bitch about everything and have no solutions. They just pander to make people more and more angry at the wrong set of people. They create in-groups and out-groups. And they just want to create people that are more and more angry at their fucking peers. We're on the same fucking financial situation, and the reason why we're not getting out of it is because there's no policy in place. So yeah, I understand what you say when Democrats are cucks and Republicans are evil, and I understand when Enslaved by Vegetables said that Democrats are evil. I think they're both evil in different ways. I just can't take the Republican Party at all seriously. I feel like they're actually trash, and they're evil, and that's why we can belittle them a little more, is because they do everything in bad faith, and they refuse to have any policy, and they do nothing but pander and anger the poor people at the wrong Yeah, at the wrong out group. Like it's disgusting. We've gotten to the point where we have fundamentalist radicals on one side and dumb fucking stagnant rich people on the other side. So they all suck. But yeah, one side is clearly more disgusting than the other, you know? I mean, they both are,
Well,
but
they both pander. The Democrats pander to the corporate overlords, unions, as well as they try to take the right side on issues so that they can fundraise and so that they can act like they're doing something, but they don't take any actual steps to
right.
make these things happen.
Right, but they pander in the semblance of progressiveness. So they'll pander to the woke people as in like we can get
Right.
you free college, we can get you this, like good things that should happen in policy, but they don't follow through. The Republicans pander based on anger, fear, and racism, which is a totally different way to pander, right? It's like, oh, the immigrants are getting all your shit. And it's like, oh, now we hate them because it's an us versus them situation. So it's a different kind of pandering. They both do it. But at the very fucking least, the Democrats, yeah, they lie and they pander, but they pander about the policy that we could possibly get. It's like the fucking carrot with the horse. We're the horse, and they keep holding the carrot. They're just dangling it, but they're never giving it to us. Whereas the other person panders to fucking literally kill fucking like people that are non-white.
They pander to people that hate me and you, right?
Yeah,
they're like, you know,
exactly.
Are you scared of brown people? You're with us.
Are you not Christian? You're Christian, right? Oh yeah, like yeah. So
listen. Aunt Nancy is gonna save it, okay? Aunt Nancy has the cure.
I hate her.
Overwhelmed by this decision. From time to time, I quote,
"Not the poem, no."
This poem by Ehud Manor.
No!
He's an Israeli poet. I met his wife when I've been in Israel. He says, "I have no other country, even though my land is burning. Only a word in Hebrew penetrates my veins, my soul, with an aching body and with a hungry heart. Here is my home. I will not be silent, for my country has changed her face. My country has changed her face. I shall not give up on her. I shall remind her and sing into her ears until she opens her eyes." Clearly, we hope that the Supreme Court would open its eyes.
How was the Supreme Court going to open their eyes when they were 6-3 and they were all appointed by a Republican? Nancy, elections have consequences.
She doesn't care. She is the queen of talking without saying anything.
All right. She also pushed a little brown girl out of the way in a photo op this week as well in Texas, I think, and people were jumping all over her for that. All right. The next part that happened is that people start saying, okay, well, this is just step one. This is step one. Because, and part of the conversation on Twitter this week was married LGBTQ people, call a lawyer, get copies of birth certificates and custody for your children on paper, make sure life insurance policies, property that you own, bank account information, passwords, power of attorney are all set up and understood, because there could be mass nullification of marriages. And if you saw Clarence Thomas, aka Uncle Ruckus, his opinion on the piece was that LGBTQ rights, lesbian marriage, contraception, and a bunch of other things are now on the table. They are trying to turn us into a Christian world. Cyro, play the Pelosi, the blunt comes out. Yeah, I can't watch the Pelosi. I can't watch Pelosi sober, Cyro. I'm sorry.
No.
And then the next part of it is, there's 117,000 children in the United States that are waiting to be adopted. I read a lot of stories about people that were raised as children that were adopted, and the horror stories are some of these kids. Children that are adopted are much more likely to be abused, killed by their parents. There's a lot of things that happen. You adopt a child and you have the idea that the child is just going to be like you, look like you. Even if they're the same race, they may not look like you. The child might be a fat child. It might be a skinny child. It might be a non-athletic child. It might not have the right attitude as you. It's a different life, because after it's born, it's actually a life. So adopted children don't have like party, hey, I exist, because if you were aborted, you don't know that you didn't exist. What is your earliest memory? Maybe when you're 2, you remember being born, Some people say they remember being born. Some people have memories, vague memories when they were children. But more than likely, our first memories come when we're 3, 4, 5 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
We remember vague things. So yeah, a lot of these things started coming out. Don't kill your baby. I'll adopt it. And it was a meme for a while. We will adopt your baby.
Oh God, that's terrifying.
Ivanka and Jared. And things like that were happening. So that's the other the other area of it. That if you were really pro-life, there's 100,000 kids in foster care right now. 90% of kids that are in foster care are there for probably their whole life. It's a lot easier to be adopted if you're a baby or newborn. Once you get past 4, 5, 6 years old, it's a lot harder for you. Then you spend your entire life going from foster house to foster house. We can talk about the foster system where they'll pay somebody, $30,000 to take care of a kid, instead of turning around and giving that money to the parent that might be losing the kid because they can't pay their rent. It's weird that it's a system that pays other people to take care of kids for people that don't have the means to take care of them, instead of using that money to help those people find houses and stuff like that. So, we could do a whole show about the foster system and about adoptions. But if you're going to say that you care about all lives, you don't care about immigrant lives, you don't care about refugees coming over, you don't care about little kids getting blown up in other countries, you don't care when drone strikes killed 15 kids at a wedding because they were trying to kill one guy.
A shooting in elementary school.
20 kids get shot in elementary school. We're keeping our guns. We want you to have a vaccine. My body, my choice. My body, my choice.
But you need to have a forced pregnancy, and you must raise a child. Like, it's all about controlling women and telling them what to do with their bodies. I'm sorry.
It's a Sigma male thing, or they just gave the rights. Come on, you're better than that, Kurt. You're better than that. All these states had trigger laws in effect, which means that in practicality, they did do that. All right. Sex strike. Abstinence trends on Twitter in wake of Roe v. Wade ruling. Big Apple abortion protesters were in the support of a sex strike Saturday as abstinence started trending on Twitter. If you're a man, you won't get a vasectomy. You're not in the streets fighting for my rights. You do not deserve to have sex with me. Your thoughts, Sophia?
I love that. Low key, I do online dating. All right, I have the apps. I be on these streets. Okay, and like, and so after this, I got so enraged that on Hinge I have a prompt that's specifically like scares away the men that are pro-life. Like they would not swipe right on me. And then on Tinder as well. So yeah, I've always been of that mindset, but like now I'm just being a lot more of an asshole about it, I guess, because I'm pissed.
Yeah, no, I understand, but so basically, right wingers
I will
are not
fuck you if you are pro-abortion.
You like Madonna? You're gonna blow people that vote for
yes.
that vote.
Yes.
All right, guys, and you guys can find just set your Tinder to 50 miles from zip code 92.
Shut up! Don't give my zip code away.
What you want to do is you want to set your Tinder area code to 619, and then from there. Ironically, abstinence is what Christians have been pushing for. Yeah, Christians want you not to bang, and I did catch a. All right, I did take a look at our no names, and one of the things. Actually, I'll pull that up in a second. But basically, it was, and then this is a take that happened. It was just to that, but yeah, a lot of the people that are anti-abortion are people that are not fuckable. And or people that are old that aren't going to have babies no more.
Yeah, I wouldn't start calling them pro-life. You're right, anti-abortion. I like that. Let's not call them pro-life because they're not.
Anti-abortion. Meanwhile, presented without comment, these are some pro-life. These are some pro-abortion people.
Oh, I love them. Yes.
So talk to me first about why it is you wanted to come out here today, because something that struck me
How you doing?
Was when you were speaking earlier, and you mentioned your anger because you had received a text message from the Biden campaign. Why is that?
So I received a text message from Joe Biden's campaign yesterday saying that the Supreme Court had overturned Roe
She about to get a text message from me.
Did you pause
It
it?
was my responsibility to then rush $15 to the Democratic National Party. And I thought that was absolutely outrageous because my rights should not be a fundraising point for them or a campaigning point. They have had multiple opportunities to codify Roe into law over the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and they haven't done it. And if they're going to keep campaigning on this point, they should actually do something about it.
What are you most worried about, Judge?
There you go. So as you can see, these girls are more. These are the actual people that will affect you because they're a lot more attractive than the people that are there, and they're actually out in the streets.
The other girl also had a good message. I think that's such a good point that you actually made earlier about how the Democrats they tend to always ask for like to raise funds. There was a meme that you showed, and that's exactly what it is. They're seeing this fucking like tragedy on fucking civil rights and shit, and they're taking it and it's just saying, hey, let's raise money, vote for Democrats, we don't suck, we won't take away your rights. It's bullshit and it's stupid. Like it's kind of offensive, the fact that you would use something anti-choice. Love that. Anti-choice. Yes, Robles. Love that.
Not all religions believe life is made at conception. Also a great point. Here's something else that I found.
Parents, could you imagine having a teenage daughter who needed to have an abortion and the parents didn't have consent?
I could if that daughter was the victim of a rape or incest, in which case your party will allow, not just allow, force that 13-year-old girl to carry her rapist child to her pregnancy to term. But I just, this idea that, you know, I want to just clarify one thing. And I think the vice president said it well. The only difference between Clarence Thomas and the rest of the court is that Clarence Thomas said out loud, and Mike Pence said out loud, what many Republicans, like Alice, will not say. They want the national ban. If they really believe that what is happening is a murder, it is inconsistent for you to say a national ban is not the next step. And Republicans care about life until the child is born.
No, here's the
and
question.
That's where they drop off.
Here's the question. No, I want to ask this. Well, since
I think
it's important. The other option is what.
Look at her struggling.
Democrats are fine with abortion up to delivery. That's unfathomable.
Oh, always
killing babies. That is absolutely on the
How
table
many
for
cases
Democrats.
of a woman having an abortion at delivery do you know?
You did the perfect thing there.
I want to.
Just give me a number.
Democrats are fine with that, but
this is a stalking horse of the Republican Party. Instead of giving women the rights, you want to give Mike Pence and Clarence Thomas the rights over a majority of American women that want to choose their own reproductive health choices.
Okay. Bam!
Damn, mic drop right there.
And this is something that Republicans use continuously, which is the hey, if you a Democrat want to be able to abort a baby 10 minutes, an hour, days after it was born. No, they don't. No. Who wants that? Who wants that? Who wants that? Are second and third trimester abortions sometimes needed because the fetus is not viable? The fetus is not viable. If they think there's something developmentally wrong with it, we have the technology now to know and do tests that can tell you, hey, your baby's not going to have a spine. Oh, well, fuck. What the fuck am I going to do now? You know, like your baby's going to have this or that or this. The fetus is doing this. We can tell that things are wrong. We have the technology. Sometimes these things happen. Sometimes the health of the mother, it needs to be put ahead of the health of the child. Now, in those situations, I think, you know, women have sometimes made ultimate separate. There's women that die during childbirth. You know, obviously, I'm not an expert, you know, but what I'm saying is Republicans and their talking points are so easy to spot. So if you're out there arguing with a Republican, just when they say something crazy like that, say, you know what? Okay, give me one example of that. You know, tell me how many times do you think that happens a year, where somebody that's have a baby that's been pregnant for 8.5 months, all of a sudden decides, you know what, I'm gonna abort my 8.5-month-old fetus before it's born. How many times do you think? How many times do you think that really happens? If you ask me, even though I'm pro-choice, you know, it's a medical decision. I have nothing to do with me. Um, I don't think that's cool. In my personal life, as a personal point, I wish there was no abortion. I wish we lived in a society where there was enough sex education, preventative measures, protection, no stigmas, Plan B pills, all these other things available to us so that you wouldn't have to make that decision. I personally, myself, am against it. But I have no stake in the matter. It is a woman's health care issue. And if the Republicans are going to bring up these stupid ass points about, oh, well, 8.5 months and this and that, and blah, blah, blah. Come on, show me examples. How many times do you think that's really going to happen? Just because a law is written in a way that protects a woman who's going to have to make a horrible, life-altering, deep, emotional, important decision, whether to terminate her pregnancy or possibly end her own life. And there are women there who make that choice. Because there's women every year that die in childbirth. If you're not able to respond or ask questions or answer that debate, then you're just spitting out talking points, and you're just basically in love with this idea of righteousness and this idea of godliness about this book that was written thousands of years ago, through history, through the US, in different religions. You're talking about making 350 million people act the way a religion that less than 100 million follow. You want, because Jewish people believe in that life doesn't begin until conception, right? Until birth. And there's other religions that deal with it. Latinos, a lot of Catholics, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
No, and I mean, real quick though, like you said, like you are not necessarily like gung ho about abortion, and no one needs to be. Like the thing about abortion is it's a last resort measure because it takes a lot to fucking bring up a child. Okay, it takes a lot to birth a child. First of all, it costs like a lot of money to fucking pay for the hospital to have a child. First of all, pregnancy is 9 months. I think that it's just so disgusting to force anybody to do anything with their bodies, and that's my thing. I like to fucking put it in a spectrum because people that are anti-choice are on one end, and then people that are anti-natalist are on the other end. Pro-choice is literally the fucking middle, people. Pro-choice is the middle ground. We are so far fucking right, it's disgusting. Like you are forcing people to do something with their bodies. This is equivalent to fucking rape. Honestly, I'm not kidding. Like if I was pregnant tomorrow and I had somebody forcing me to be a fucking incubator for 9
months of trauma
9 months
on your
of
body.
my life, trauma. I'm an incubator. There's this fucking being that's like taking out of me because like just taking all my fucking like energy and shit and feeding off of me. This is like a sci-fi movie, and you're telling me I fucking have to because your god says it in a book? Like, I'm sorry, your Sky Daddy said it in your fan fiction book. Like, I don't believe it. I don't care. Like, okay,
Sky
I should
Daddy,
have the choice
like
of
that.
what I do. Yeah, I don't care about your fucking Sky Daddy. Like, so don't tell me that what to do with my body. Like, that's it. Respect me, okay? You can do, like you said, you are not pro-abortion. That is fine. That's your belief. If you and your girl ever got pregnant, that would be a conversation for you. I respect that. Respect me the same, right? So you don't have to be super gung-ho about abortion. I'm not about it either. I don't like it. Would I have it? Maybe. That would be a decision for me to make. But like, at least respect me to the point that I can have a choice. That's it. Like, disgusting.
Absolutely, Miss Sofia Carr. We are live on Wednesday, Mi Gente Show. Thank you for everybody that stopped by,
I'll be
checking
right
us
back.
out. Okay.
Everything's about to die.
All right. As Miss Sofia Carr takes a break, it's the first time to remind you to make sure that you hit that like button, leave a heart, leave a like, etc. Make sure you're subbed, etc. And I appreciate all the love and everybody tuning in today. Let's cap up here. Not all religions believe in life begins at conception. Absolutely, Cyro. Absolutely. And that's not even advice medically. Cyro, true doctors won't perform that procedure when the fetus is viable. Yeah, I mean, if you get to that point, there's things that can happen. They don't trust science. They don't trust doctors. They trust Hashtag Sky Daddy.
You like that one? Hashtag Sky Daddy.
Hashtag Sky Daddy. I like that one. And as we mentioned before in our pre-roll announcement, if you do want to find out more where you can help, go to this link, podvoices.help/abortions-support. We are connecting and collaborating with other podcasters to put a message out there so that people know where they can donate. All right, a couple more things here that I wanna get through. I have deleted a ton of tabs, so I am trying to get to that here. All right, real quickly. South Dakota will prosecute abortion doctors and restrict access to pills. This is the horrible side of it, right? There's a bunch of states that had trigger laws in effect. What it means is that they have a Republican legislator, state assembly, etc. They have laws in place that says the minute that Roe v. Wade gets overturned, this law goes into effect immediately. So South Dakota will prosecute docs. They will prosecute doctors that give. There's already horror stories. There's already stories of people that were going to have abortions that are calling their doctors, and their doctors are trying to figure out how to help them, because in some cases they could be persecuted for giving that person information. So this is where it gets into the dystopian side of it. This is where it gets into the horrible, horrible side. If you're a healthcare provider and all you want to do is help people out, and you live in a red state, the effect on red states is going to be huge. But a Republican said South Dakota prosecute doctors, not women, who violate the law. So basically, they're saying the doctors are the one that can't perform it's illegal to perform an abortion, not illegal to have one. So if you're a woman, and then that's where they're going to tell you, just keep it in your Sophia, just carry that thing around for like 9 months. I think your girl did a bit about it on SNL. Just do your 9 months and pop it open and get it after. All right, some advice. This is another thing that happened. This is more the dystopian side. Even if you live in a state where abortion is legal, take the period tracker off your phone. Wear a mask if you go to any healthcare facility for reproductive care. Why? Leave your phone at home if you go to any healthcare facility for repro care, so the tracking data doesn't place you there. In the event of a miscarriage, do not tell them if you've taken anything. There's no reason for them to know. Medically, the treatment is the same no matter why you're having a miscarriage. Women currently in prison for miscarrying were turned in by healthcare professionals. Lie if they ask you what you've taken. Also, if you can pull it off, cry and beg them to save your baby, even if you tried to miscarry, especially if use incognito browsing windows, delete browsing data, trust no one. I know he says he wants his abortion because he's not ready to be a father, but he also wants a $10,000. You can get $10,000 for turning somebody in who's having an abortion.
Oh yeah. It's fucking stupid.
I said what I said. There are women all over California who will invite you to come to audition, to come interview at a college or for a job, to come visit, to meet new baby, whatever, to create a reason for you to come there. Lots of women out here posting links to orgs that have been creating networks that help get women donate what you can. So yeah, this is super dystopian and fucking weird. If you have a track, I don't know anything about tracking apps for my period, but I know that there's a lot. I know there's a ton of men. There's a ton of men out there that are downloading it and just throwing random information there to fuck with the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we're in California, a very progressive state.
Mm-hmm.
The ire of the flyover states is that we live here.
Mm-hmm.
But how does this make you feel?
I feel like I've said a lot. It makes me feel like I'm suffocating. I am lucky to be where I am right now when this dystopian shit is happening, because I'm 27. At my age, if I had an oopsie baby, I feel like I would keep it just because of my age. So I wouldn't have that. I wouldn't necessarily think too much of it. On top of that, I have the Mirena IUD inserted, and contraceptives in California should be safe, at least for me to get another one when I need to renew it. So I'm in a really good place. But if I think back to 16-year-old me, when I started to be sexually active, how uneducated I was, how little access I had to contraceptives, how many pregnancy scares I've had in my lifetime, and how I always thought if this is a day, if this is positive, I'm fucking getting an abortion. And I love that that's a choice. I have always felt safe in that that's the last resort, and I've tried to be as careful as I possibly can. But knowing that that is there as an option when I was younger was because I knew I'm a careerist. I knew I always wanted to go to college. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to do the things that I'm doing and be where I am at. And I've worked very fucking hard. So to think back to my 16-year-old self, yeah, I always knew that. I knew that if it got to that point, I would have abortions. I would, because at the end of the day, it's my life. And I wasn't ready to be a mother. I knew I wasn't ready to be a mother. I knew I didn't have the funds to be a mother. And that is not where I wanted my life to go. So if I got pregnant at that age, I would have done it. And now I'm at the point where financially I'm stable. I can do it. I love kids. And I feel sufficiently, happy with my career and stuff like that. So, now if I had an oopsie, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't affect me as much. Right now, I'm just yelling into the void and fighting for other women's rights because I don't necessarily think I would have an abortion at this stage of my life. But I think back to my younger self, man, and how many little girls this is affecting. Our education is already shit. Our contraception is already shit, especially in other states. California, we're very lucky. But it's a scary time. It's a scary time to be a woman. It's a scary time to be queer. It's just a scary fucking time to be in this country. So yeah.
Well said there, Ms. Carrillo. I as a man, as I'll just basically, okay. So I asked my mom once if abortion was legal in Colombia when I was born, when she got pregnant, if she would have thought about doing it, and she said probably yes. So that's kind of a weird thing so that's kind of like, even knowing that, I don't know. I don't know if I would have missed existing. I mean, you would have missed me, obviously, but so you're like, man, if Colombia in 1977 was a liberal bastion and women could have abortions, my mother would have thought about it. I don't know if she would have gone through with it, but that would have been her right. Now I exist, and I'm thankful for the last 45 years, but I don't know if I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have known. So it would have been like, hey, it would have sucked for Earth. Then they'll say something like, well, what if you aborted the baby that's going to cure cancer? They already have the cure for cancer. They're just waiting.
What if you have Hitler?
Would you aborted Hitler? I don't know, man. We are where we are, and it really comes down to, for me, as not being about me, right? It's basically, I understand that some people believe in this book and this miracle baby. Mary Magdalene, what did she have sex with a Roman soldier and have to lie about it? I didn't have sex with nobody. I didn't have sex with anybody. I just got pregnant. What happened?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we're basing an entire religion off that. With those people that believe in the miracle baby, they don't want you to kill any babies. And like I said, it's weird that this is mostly going to affect brown people of color, women of color, people who can have babies of color. But it's really, it's interesting that these people are so hardcore about this when the religion is based on a miracle birth. So yeah, it was just, it's a hashtag Sky Daddies. Yeah, absolutely.
Hashtag Sky Daddy.
Sky Daddies.
Sky Daddies.
So yeah. So I'm just here to sort of let you vent and to bring up some interesting things that I saw out there.
Well, on that note, though, I feel like there's a lot that could be said for men's rights as well, because I have had this conversation with my brother a lot. I have a brother, love him dearly, and we talk about this a lot. He like I feel very protective over the men in my life. I love them, so I'm not the like fucking fuck all men type of woman, you know. And I feel like when it comes to the abortion topic, um, you're not only forcing the woman to make a choice with her body. Obviously, she's the one carrying it, so she's the most important person, right, in that situation.
Right.
But the man is also going to be forced to be a father. Now they can leave, they can be, but now you're forcing them to make a decision. Do I leave and have a selfish life and be this like asshole who left my baby because I wasn't ready, because I was too young, because whatever, I don't have financial, capabilities, or do I stay and I become a father when I'm not fucking ready? And
Yeah, does
I
this
feel
open
like
a door for people to be forced to stay with their children? If you're forced to carry a baby to term,
because
are you going to then be forced to stay with the mother?
because exactly. So let's the next step after like that. Yes, you're forcing women, but also you're forcing men into making a decision as well. And the thing was, at the age that I think back 16, I would have never wanted a baby with that guy or something like that, right? And like I would have never forced them to, nor would I have wanted to be stuck with them for life. Like the idea is just so fucking crazy that like it would have been a conversation between the two of us, and I think we both would have respectfully chosen abortion. And I think that that's a decision that men should also get a say in. Now if we're gonna take a step further and talk about like when the women doesn't want to get rid of it, but the guy does, all right, that's a whole different conversation. But I just don't think that women or men should be forced to be parents when they are not capable or ready. So it does involve men. It takes two to tango, and it does involve
Yeah.
men after all.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're
Mhm.
100% right. Does this open it up for you to be forced to have to stay with the parent that's there? I mean, there's already these stories where, they're the rapist and the father get rights over a baby. Like you can get raped, they could force you to have the pregnancy, and then that you could force that person to have your baby. Like, there's so many scenarios that is open up to. OMG Stick says, for now, this is a gateway to all sorts of nonsense. States' rights is back on the table, and the Ninth Amendment doesn't exist. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are back on the table now because they
Yeah.
wrote this in to say basically, hey, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more. Go ahead and just push everything up to us. We got you, dog. This is like when you go to the mall or the movies or the fair and you see your friend working at a concession stand and you're like, I'm getting free corn dogs all night, baby. It's like one of those where you're like, yeah, come see me. Like you have friends at Comic-Con, they have the swag. You're like, hey, come on, what's up? Hey, you know somebody, This is exactly what's happening. The court is in on it. They're down. They're like, we're down with the white. We're doing the okay sign. We got the Krishna ethno state happening. We're ready. Send us the laws. You're gonna get a good judgment. It's like your homies at the concession side. Come on through. So everything is up on the table. Gay rights, reproductive pills. The one thing that Clarence doesn't want is a repeal of loving and interracial marriages. That's the one that he wasn't that he didn't mention. But
Of course.
a lot of shit is on the table. UWINTV. Of course, the law is just conservative punishing women for having premarital sex. Yeah, this is another thing that I saw. This is relevant as I
about controlling women's bodies.
Yeah, it's basically about getting mad that you can't get laid. It's about it's about a lot of things, man. And like I said, some of the people that are most pro this are the least fuckable. This is what I saw. The swiftness with which this became but the babies turns into there must be consequence for whores.
Yeah.
Every goddamn time. Exactly. Got this. Give me a second here. I've seen the argument. They won't let a 16-year-old adopt a baby, but they will force her to birth one. Yeah,
exactly.
they'll force a 16-year-old to birth a baby. our priorities are all fucked up.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, Baron. Well, this is the same court that negated Native American sovereignty rights, allowing police to ignore proper processing. Yeah, they already did Miranda rights.
Yeah, the Miranda
They did
rights,
Miranda rights, and then right afterwards, they're like, people were like, whoa, wait a second, Miranda rights? What's going on here? And all of a sudden, they're like, oh, never mind that, religion. They're like, wait a minute, and then they're like, abortion. They like dropped them back to back to back to back to fuck it. And then the pill addiction and knowingly prescribing all that. Yeah, this is
That's like a really good point. Thank you.
That's already saying Miranda rights. Yeah, they're more like Miranda suggestions.
Miranda suggestions.
Miranda-ish. Don't worry about it. Do you think they did it? Then just go ahead and arrest them. We'll deal with it later.
We can't sue you. It's fine.
The loving will be ratified 5-4. He's like, yeah, it won't be 6-3, it'll be 5-4. I tried. Sorry, Jenny, you got to go. So that happened really fast. Let me just knock through the rest of these real quickly.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Let's go.
Abortion is murder.
Really? Come on, let's just go. Come on. No. Do you know what? No, not okay. This has literally nothing to do with you.
All life is sacred.
Oh, grow up. If you really thought all life was sacred, you wouldn't be wearing leather shoes. If you can call those orthopedic monstrosities shoes. There are refugees drowning in boats. Families being carpet bombed, tiny babies without enough water or basic vaccines. If you really care so much about life, then do something about that instead of sitting around here on your ass playing Candy Crush and shouting at women you've never met before. Those are actual lives. This was a fetus. And unless you want to take it and stick it up your ass and carry it around for 9 months until it finally tears its way through your genitals, and trust me, it will tear, then you don't get a say in the matter.
It's the easy way.
You've clearly never had an abortion. Trust me, I've had 2. And no, that doesn't make me a slut. It makes me a woman in the 21st century. Who as a teenager was stealthed by a guy 4 years my senior, and who was stupid enough to have sex with another man who refused to wear a condom because it made his willy feel funny. So deal with it.
It does.
And mind your own.
You got to put up with it, though.
Love her. Mic drop. Yes.
Yes. It's a bad day for guys with latex allergies. It's not.
I know.
That's not gonna work as well as it has in the past. I got this latex allergy, baby.
Sorry.
Next up is getting the ETA. Possibly everything's on the table.
Everything's up for the table. Yep.
It's a buffet. Everything's on the table. Catching up here. Thank you for everybody that's tuning in live. Make sure that you leave a like, hit the follow button, all that good stuff. Subscribe so that you can be updated when we go live. Appreciate all the love and support and the contributions and collaborations and everybody participating today. Cyro says, and yet so many women have abortions for fear of being disowned or chastised, etc. Religion forcing births, but only want us to get pregnant when they say it's socially acceptable. Not actually creating a safe space for women who may actually carry their pregnancy to term. Yeah, it's 8-9 months of trauma to your body. And
torn genitals,
up and down, crazy situation there to be forced to do that because of a rule that an old white dude wrote is not what happened. All right, this was Nancy nudging the little Mexican girl out of the way.
Oh my God, Nancy, be better.
Oh, she's like, and then the girl's like, "Fuck no, bitch, I'm staying right here." Yo, ass. She's like,
Oh my God.
Sorry. James Wood actually tweeted this, I guess. She's like, ooh. She's like, nope.
Damn.
I'm back up in here. All right. Iron Sheik got in the mix. Don't fuck with the women's rights. All right. Iron Sheik on the right side of history here.
Straight to the point.
This was an old George Carlin bit.
Conservatives are really something, aren't they? They're all in favor of the unborn. They will do anything for the unborn. But once you're born, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Pro-life conservatives are obsessed with the fetus
like
from
25
conception
years
to
ago.
9 months. After that, they don't want to know about you. They don't want to hear from you. No, nothing. No neonatal care, no daycare, no Head Start, no school lunch, no food stamps, no welfare, no nothing. If you're pre-born, you're fine. If you're preschool, you're fucked.
Love him.
Conservatives don't give a shit about you until you reach military age. Then they think you are just fine, just what they've been looking for. Conservatives want live babies so they can raise them to be dead soldiers. Pro-life. Pro-life. These people aren't pro-life, they're killing doctors. What kind of pro-life is that? What, they'll do anything they can to save a fetus, but if it grows up to be a doctor, they just might have to kill it? They're not pro-life. You know what they are? They're anti-woman. Simple as it gets. Anti-woman. They don't like them.
Tell him, Uncle George.
They don't like women. They believe a woman's primary role is to function as a broodmare for the state. Pro-life. You don't see any of these white anti-abortion women.
It's funny that a lot of people
fetuses transplanted into their uteruses, do you?
try to co-opt this for like George Carlin was actually a Republican.
No, that might be something Christ would do. And you won't see a lot of these pro-life people dousing themselves in kerosene and lighting themselves on fire. You know, morally committed religious people.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a bit from 25 years ago that was circling around, because George Carlin was a beast in terms of talking truth to power, and he was a progressive. This is not something that was like 3-4 years ago. This is 25 years ago. 25 years ago, I remember this. This is one of his HBO specials from like mid to late 90s, I would say, maybe early 90s. It kind of has a stop. George Carlin simp. Wow, no, George Carlin was not a simp. Said when conservatives don't realize they aren't funny. Comedy's about making fun of power, not simping for power like conservatives do. All right, I get it. It's still true, yeah, and it is. I think it is still true that what he said here. The only reason I'm bringing it up is that it's interesting to see all the things that people sort of react to. Olivia Rodrigo brought on somebody to. Well,
this song goes out to the justices, Samuel Alito.
She called him out.
Yes, my name.
Colin Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh. We hate you.
Yes, bitch.
And then they sang "I fuck you," so that was appropriate.
Yeah, I love her.
This is one of my favorite. We made sure they can't hurt no more babies for you. I'm literally not even real.
Oh,
Pussy Riot.
Viewers are not gonna like that one.
Yeah, Pussy Riot was on top of that one.
Oh, it's Pussy Riot. Oh my god, I just saw that. I love Pussy Riot.
This was something else. Let's see. Okay, Lake Superior got into the mix. Even meme accounts for bodies of water run by interns in some Michigan state office. Tom Fitton said, "What?" Because Lake Superior posted something basically in support of women's rights, and this guy said, "Water is wet and abortion kills a human being." Lake Superior, a body of water, responds. This lake, okay, because this fake vehemently stands with women having the right to choose. Water is wet and abortion kills a human. Thomas, not even your first talking point is correct. Water is not wet. What water touches is wet. I'm confident I have a lot more experience in making things wet than you.
Lake Superior. Yes.
Lake Superior for the knockout.
I'm gonna go follow now. That's great.
So this was a murder by a body of, and then somebody had another one where they were like, that's the, basically they made a reference to some famous person that had drowned on Lake Superior, and they're like, that's the worst beating since that person. Okay, this I think we touched on before, which is there's some threads on here about, I'm the innocent child pro-lifers love to slap on posters, used to bolster arguments. My mother gave me up for adoption after being able to access abortion. She was poor, homeless. There was no parenting help. I received a life of pain and abuse. I would have rather been aborted. So there were some threads out there by people who had these very tough lives happening to them, and there's people. Everybody has the dream of the family with the white picket fence and the golden retriever that's going to adopt a baby. And you see that from time to time. But the reality, like I said, there's over 100,000 kids in foster care right now, 400,000 I think I read somewhere that can be adopted. And abortion is definitely something that happens a lot in this country too. So you're talking about, I don't know what the numbers are. I'm sure somebody in the right wing or somebody that's pro anti-abortion would have those numbers. But so you take 400,000, 100,000, even it's 100,000 people in foster care, and then you stop abortions today. That means you're going to flood the foster care system with people.
Yeah.
So as many people as could be out there saying, nobody. So if you're gonna say, yeah, we'll adopt your baby, then you have to also address all the different things that happened as a result of it. And this is a thread that I thought was interesting. Even what's kind of sad is that this is what I talked about earlier. Her adoptive parents weren't really into her or the type of baby and kid that she was, and therefore she was abused. So if you really want to take a look at it, then I think also Republicans have a tendency to not care about a topic unless it affects them. Like you see a lot of the Republicans that are pro LGBTQ rights usually are because they become that way after a parent or somebody comes out and stuff like that. They don't care about it unless it happens. As a woman, it's sad to see so many women not give a shit about our freedoms. Yeah, and that's the weirdest part, that there were people openly celebrating, celebrating out there, like yes, I don't want that right.
It's so, man, I don't know. It's so misinformed and misguided. Misguided is the word, because I would consider you and I people who are actually pro-life, as in we sit in this podcast and shout for fucking hours on end about how we want people to have rights and how we want people to have more money and how the middle class, we want it to thrive and all of that, and how it just pisses me off that there's people actively celebrating the fact that now we're going to have more kids who are birthed forcefully and into the foster care system, like you said, and are just going to have shit childhoods. Like I studied psychology and I work with kids. And I don't think people understand how fucking important it is to have a stable home and stable parents and to be brought up in a stable environment. It is disgusting to me to have this amount of people fucking voting for the lack of rights, right? So for voting to force people into something that they can't even follow through with. All we are doing is we are creating a generation of forced births. And those births become fucking adults eventually, okay? They're not going to know right from wrong. They're not going to know anything but pain and fear and poverty. And no one fucking cares. Pro-lifers don't care. They care about the fetus. Once it's born, it doesn't fucking matter. And it's aggravating. It's like, because now we're going to have, guess what? When we're older, Lou, we're just going to keep going with this podcast, right? And we're just going to have another generation where we're just going to be like, look at this fucking generation of shitheads. Because pro-lifers just force them to be born. Into fucking broken homes. But for some reason, two gay daddies or two gay mommies who are fucking making six figures and have a stable life can't be parents. Because no.
That would be grooming. Yeah. It
has to be one man, one woman. But then single moms is fine. Just fucking have your babies. Just have your babies and shut up.
Yeah. Listen. Yeah. Listen, this country was founded on religious freedom. The more they try to change that, the weirder things get. But the side is basically changing religious freedom to a religious must. And these are the same people that will freak the fuck out and scream Sharia law. And we don't want Sharia law. If you read what Sharia law is, it's basically controlling women and what they can do. If you look at the pictures of Iran in 1972, the girls going to college with their hair out, they were very progressive. They listened to American music. All of a sudden, a fundamentalist government takes over. They install all these whims, and your rights get reversed. Now, women in Iran have to care. They have to do the whole thing, right? So you can go backwards in time. You can go back to previous norms. It is not something that is going to be that is not possible. I think one of the most interesting things to me is that we walk around as if there isn't a phrase that says history repeats itself. And we know about history, we know about dictators and horrible times and oppression, all these things that happen, but we don't think, but we really, we're in different times. Human beings have not really changed. Yes, we have more technology, but we're like, there's not going to be any more wars. There's war all the time. There can be they can never be somebody like Hitler or somebody like a dictator. There'll never be a coup in the United States or a coup attempt. All this stuff. So one of the most interesting things that I thought about during this is how we walk around thinking of that, and this is like clear-cut evidence that there are people that want the world, they want the U.S. to be very religious, very much what they want. They're a smaller percentage than the majority of people that are in this country. They are, compared to everybody else, when you're talking about 70% people are okay with a woman having a choice to abort, they're a smaller percentage. And these people are actively have a plan in place to take over local and state governments, school boards, gerrymander districts, win approval, get their candidate into office with the chance to make important appointments, and they're winning. They're winning because right now they have their homeboy at the concession stand that's giving them free nachos every time they walk by, and they're winning. They're getting their way. They want this country to be fundamentalist Christian. They want that religion to be the rule of the land. They want Sharia law, American style. And they're doing the things to do it. So if you learned anything today, even though I lost track of chat's ongoing debate here, but if you learned anything today is that that this shit can't happen. It is happening. They do have a plan in place to make this United States like that. Whether you say that, oh no, they're just kicking it back to the states' rights trigger laws. Whether you say, oh well, you want to abort at 9 months, no, we don't. That's very rare. Whether you say, women are just trying to avoid consequences. What, you weren't young? Like what's the big? People don't make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. And the fact of the matter is, there's a bunch of rich Republican Christian women that are fighting this issue that probably had abortions themselves. And that was their right because they were 15 and daddy was a senator or daddy was a congressman or daddy was a judge or daddy was a pastor or daddy was a big man in the community. And guess what? They got taken out of state, got an abortion, zigzag, boom, go on, live your life. And every single woman or person that's able to give birth has that right. I believe should have that right to make that decision at their level.
Agreed. Yeah.
Agreed. All right. Man. All right. Catching up here.
I know. What an episode.
What an episode.
We're pissed.
We are pissed. All right. So the last things that I had here, and I got a couple of funny things for us to sort of clear the planet.
Okay. Yeah.
I did see something where they were talking about if you're in a state that banned abortion, do not reach out to these folks who are offering to let folks stay at their place if they need an abortion. There's a lot of people, and I believe some of it is really legitimate. Some of it might be a little virtual signaling where they're like, if you want to go camping, there are great campgrounds out here in California, and I'd love to have you come out here for some camping action. And we all get it. We see it. It makes, like I said, it's kind of like a it's a virtual signaling, but it's like with good intent. Like all Democrats. And yeah, that's a fine thing to do. But basically her point is that there's actually organizations, ground root efforts out there. So if you really want to do that for somebody, just direct them to the organizations that are already doing it, that are going to know how to do it the right way. Because like I said, if you communicate, if you're like, hey, I want to go camping, and then you say, wait, hey, I want to go next week, and then they have those communications, and then they saw your post, and then you went to California, and your phone pinged in California at an abortion clinic, and then it pinged again, and then they have your period tracker, and then and then your boyfriend turns you in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Then they subpoena your phone records. That conversation Like I was starting this as a joke, but the more I got into it, it's scary as hell.
Yeah.
You could get tried for murder if you live in one of these states.
And
like literally, they could try you for murder for leaving and going to do your own healthcare in another state. So
dude,
don't virtual signal. There's places out there that have well. We do have that in the information there. I just want to put it out there real quick again. Go to podvoices.help and go to the abortion support page. There's abortion rights. There's a page where you can go to the collection of abortion resources, campaigns to normalize abortion, donate to abortion funds by state, national networks, stuff like that. There's a lot of cool stuff there, international stuff. We are partnering with podcasts to sort of at least put that on a pre-roll for the podcast and talk about it right now, because it is something that is very, very relevant right now. And I was looking at the 2 a.m. burrito numbers, and do you know that my numbers from male to female are like 50.1 to 49.1?
Yeah.
all my likes on 2 a.m. burrito stuff is like our audience is specifically like cut right down the middle, male and female.
Really? That makes me so happy. That's awesome.
That's interesting, right? I would have thought it would have skewed a little bit more male with our comedy, but hey. All right, LAPD came after Jodie Sweetin.
What? What'd she do?
You will not attack Kimmy Gibbler.
No.
That is not what's happening.
That's not Kimmy Gibbler. Jodie Sweetin is the little sister. What the fuck is her name?
Oh, what was Kimmy Gibbler?
Kimmy Gibbler is the best friend of the older sister. What the fuck is the middle sister?
I don't know. Either way, she was the middle sister. Yeah, she was the middle sister. Okay,
middle sister.
Anyway, she was at one of the LA things, and she got like knocked on her butt.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. So random as hell. I hope she's okay.
All right, and this last one is reproductive freedom. And this is one of the things. One of the things that I saw was about. Well, one of the things that AOC said is, she had a list of things that we can do. Do specific. I don't know if you want to jump into that, but reproductive freedom does not just look like access to abortion. One of the things was the putting abortion clinics in federal land, and other was putting abortion clinics on tribal land. And the indigenous women were like, "Fuck you," because everybody knows, if you go into people of color, the history of this country of allowing people of color to give birth, or what's happened to the babies in Canada and the United States, it's not too soon to then say, hey, indigenous people who we subjugated for a million a year, here's the white women talking. Do you mind if we open up some abortion clinics on tribal land?
Here's the white women talking.
It's us white ladies.
Yeah.
I know we treat your kids as disposable, but do you mind if we open up some
white savior complex?
So don't be asking natives to allow abortion clinics on their land as an escape. All right. Okay. So talk about the floor is yours in terms of the AOC stuff that you have.
Okay. So it's not so much like any new points that we haven't already made, but it's more so her viewpoint on historically what has been done, and so therefore what should be done. Basically, she mentioned that in the 1800s, the Supreme Court had taken over, the Confederates had taken over the Supreme Court, and so there were some laws that were basically anti-Black, and the response to that was Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Then she goes into FDR and how the response was the New Deal, and how, Jim Crow, Citizens United. There's been multiple it's nothing new, basically. Whenever the Supreme Court gets radicalized, its response is equally radical response. And so that was kind of the lead up to basically the rant that I went on earlier, which is they should be impeached, or something should be done, because they have so much power. And the way she worded it, and I wrote it in my notes, was basically that they are overreaching. So they have the power, and so their rulings must be respected by the people, must be something that represents the people. Unfortunately, they have overreached. And so what happens when they overreach is the other branches of government have the responsibility to respond and check them. So we do have a system of checks and balances in place, and that should be the action that is taken. Yeah. So as far as moving forward, basically saying, hey, Joe Biden, you have the something right now that you guys have the power to do something. Both blue, like something needs to be done because the Supreme Court is so obviously radicalized and overreaching. We can't deny that. It's not just like a lefty saying like I disagree with them and this is terrible. No, it's actually the fact that like one man who did not win who won the Electoral College and did not win the popular vote got to appoint 3 Supreme Court justices who are fundamentalist extremists. So
elections have consequences.
I know, and that's totally fine. Unfortunately, that's not the voice of the people. That's not a democracy. We live in a democracy, so checks and balances need to be in place, and there needs to be action.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. They were unwilling to carve out a getting rid of the filibuster for voting rights. They were unwilling to carve out a filibuster attempt to be able to use the filibuster for immigration rights. They were unwilling to replace the parliamentarian, which is an appointed position, not elected. They made Al Franken resign for a picture where he pretended to grab a woman's boobs. What part of the established Democratic Party having balls do you think that there's actually a realistic chance that Brandon would do that? That they would go against like centuries of president and say, we're gonna guess what, Jack? Guess what? Here's the thing, Jack. We're gonna expand the court.
You're so dumb.
I talked to Bernie the other day. He had some of that good Vermont weed. He came over and said, hey, Brandon, why don't you just expand the court, brother? It'd be super cool. And I was like, you know what, Bernie? Since we fucked you over twice, 2016 and 2020, DNC, and I fucked you over in South Carolina, I'm going to go ahead and expand the court. AOC, we're going to do it. We did it, AOC. We expanded the court. They're never, ever going to, they would never even think about, they would be so caught up in the, if it's changing the established role, we can't, I don't know. That's a good idea. That is what we should do. And if Bernie was president, or somebody else, they would actually do it. But there's no way Obama wouldn't do that. Obama wouldn't expand.
But let's push towards it. Let's just keep screaming.
I think you push for expand the court, but you have to settle on something because here's the thing. I really think that the established DNC deserves this as a political party because of being fuckwads for the last several years, for fucking over Bernie, for taking advantage and disenfranchising millions of young voters from the process and telling them that they know better. And for a lot of reasons, they deserve this. And unfortunately, we are fucked, but it is because of the failings of the Democratic Party. So us sitting here and saying we are unhappy with the results of this election is not going to do shit, because that's all this argument is back and forth is, you're unhappy Hillary lost, you don't believe that Trump really lost, I'm unhappy that we didn't get to elect this electors. We are where we are. There is no unfucking this pig. There is no getting rid of these guys. These guys have lifetime positions. There is zero reasons, I think, that anybody there's really that's really gives a sorry, I got distracted here. There's no possible way that this happens, that they have the balls to really put that like that. And us sitting here and complaining about it doesn't accomplish anything. And I understand what she's saying, and yes, I more and so agree with her on the what Senate seats do we need to target, what congressional seats are weak, what are we going to do. Get an action plan together of shit that's going to happen. Focus on the right elections that are going to go, and go from there. That is absolutely, there are some things there. But to sit here and think that anybody that it's established DNC is actually going to go do anything dramatic like that
not at all
is unrealistic. They're not going to recuse any judges. They will be too afraid that 80 years from now, the Republicans will do it back to them. They're not going to do anything and put anything in their power. Sinema and Manchin are still the designated survivors, and they're going to be the ones that shit on anything. They will keep the status quo, and there'll be 2 or 3 more of this hits in terms of they might say, all right, we're going to let you keep gay marriage, but we want contraception. They're definitely going to hit. They're definitely going to hit them. And the only thing that Democrats and anybody else can do is, unfortunately, keep being loud, keep protesting, keep bugging Congressmen, bully congressmen into doing the right thing, even the ones that are pretending to do something.
Yeah,
you need to get on top of that and do that. All right.
So I agree. Wait, just really quickly, because I agree. I think that you're having the realist point of view. None. Democrats are not going to do that. It's a very, I don't want to say extreme. It's an extreme response that could shake future politics. So they're not going to do that. I understand. However, the whole you saying that they are cucks, they're cucks, that's the shit. That's the type of response that they should have if they were not cucks. Do you know what I mean? It's what we're waiting for. It's what we need. It's what should happen, but it's not gonna. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just like, let's be a little more dreamers, a little more,
Yeah.
Let's be a little more attack mode, like the Republicans.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong in wanting a better society. That's the kind of people that those are the people that know the most. It's the way it is, and that's the way it's gonna stay.
Yeah, because I'm like, it doesn't have to be. We can abolish the Supreme Court tomorrow. Who knows? Like,
dude, we literally live on a rock that's hurling through space. We're kept to the ground, stuck there by magic, something that they call gravity, and we're surrounded by other giant rocks, and we are in this infinite thing, and all of a sudden we have this beautiful Earth with life, and we decided that we needed to work for a living. And we decided that we weren't just going to go live and fuck each other and have fun and raise kids and hang out with the animals.
Sorry, I'm so mad at that.
We decided we're just going to and we created a whole society and a whole bunch of shit. We created a bunch of problems for ourselves, and eventually we will destroy ourselves. None of this matter. We're hurling through space. We could just, at any moment, the magic could end.
Who cares?
Simulation could be over.
Yeah.
All kinds of shit would happen. But anyway, we are here to chat about it. We're going to give Sophia, I'm going to catch up with Chad here for a second. Sophia,
yeah, you catch up while I take a break.
You can take a break here because I'm sorry, I've been ignoring you guys. We kind of got sidetracks here. Okay. Excuse me, guys. Sophia will be back in a second. As always, we thank you for stopping by. Mi Gente show live here on a Wednesday. Make sure that you guys are following us across all platforms. Mi Gente show on Facebook. And this is part of the 2AMB network. And my name is Big Chief Burrito. And you can find us anywhere by looking for 2AM Burrito, 2amburrito.com, facebook.com/2amburrito, twitch.tv/2amburrito, youtube.com/2AM Burrito. Dub Tor said Sophia ignoring the valid point that a court corresponding in its own area is not overreach, not a nuisance. I'm running the stream, so she doesn't really, unless she has another window open, she doesn't really see chat unless I put it up on the screen. Debate board. So there you go. Let's see. Fetus is simply a stage in the baby's development. So you guys are debating that here. I understand. I get it. It's a hot button issue. Yeah, no problem. Listen, I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and have at it there because you seem to be talking a lot of stuff here. Cows and pigs have the brain capacity. Yes. Okay. Hey, everybody has their own sort of moral limit, right? George Carlin, I think, was another comedian that basically said, I'm pro-abortion, but I want people to call it what it is, which is child murder. And basically their point is, yes, just say it. Just say that you are pro that. And, do I think that there's some truth to that in terms of, because everybody's got their own moral line. I am against a lot of things and I'm liberal a lot of things, but I also believe in cows for my meals and pigs and stuff like that. I eat bacon. So I am morally okay with the slaughter of animals. That's something that it's because I grew up with. I don't know if it's because it's definitely that. Do I sometimes feel bad about it? But do I feel bad about it to become vegan? Not yet. Will my position change over time? I don't know. Maybe. So if everybody's got their own moral code, moral line, then you can understand that, some people will stick to this sort of factual thing about when does the fetus start having cognizant? Can you have memories in the womb? When does life begin? How do you compare that with dogs and cats? I mean, chickens, pigs, cows, there's no boy chickens. They all get those are really aborted post-birth because they all get put into a shredder once they figure out they're male. There's a lot of things that we have to be morally okay with. Everybody's got their own line. So I think this is one of those instances. Some people look at it from a religious standpoint, from a text that told them that. Some people it's because their upbringing. Some people it's because of personal freedom. Some people it's because of progressive thinking. So there is a big change there. But we don't eat unborn animals. How about caviar? Mammals, maybe. All right. Sophia's back, right? Sophia's back.
I'm back.
There she is.
Hello.
There she is.
Hola,
All
mi
right.
gente.
Yeah, fish are not. Yes, fish are not.
I heard caviar.
Caviar.
Fish
No.
are friends, not food.
It's okay to eat fish because they don't have any feelings. That's
Exactly.
what
Fuck
Kurt
fish.
Cobain said. It's okay to eat fish. All right, we're moving off this, man. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand everybody's very passionate about that, and I appreciate the engagement and people chatting about it. So hey,
I think we've said our piece, yeah.
We've
And
said our
the
piece.
chat has
All
been so active, so thank you guys so much.
All right, in lesbian news.
All right, lighthearted or
All right.
okay, let's
All right.
see.
Women that are dating for 2 years find out they're half sisters.
Okay. What?
Okay, so these two girls.
No
All right, so
way.
if you saw these two women, would you think they were sisters already?
Yes. There's actually an Instagram, one of my favorite Instagram pages is called Siblings Are Dating. And what they do is they upload a picture and they guess siblings are dating every day. And it makes my day better. It's just so fun. I would have voted siblings there.
Yeah. So basically, these two women who do TikToks together, etc., out of the blue, realized that their moms had both dated the same guy at some point, and
Nice.
they were together for 2 years, and they the nose and jaw look different, maybe. Yeah, they look, I mean, a little similar. And then you guys can find this, and if you look at the TikTok, one of them actually colored their hair like the week afterwards because they didn't want to look so much alike.
Of course.
But they do TikTok. They do together. They've been together for 2 years. All of a sudden, they find out their mom knew the same guy, and then they're like, "Hey, you guys, should we take a DNA test and figure out if we're half sisters?"
No way.
No way. So I don't know. Let me see if I can I click on their TikTok from here because I see if there's an update. Let me see. So anyway, they decided to check it out, and I have no idea what it's up, but do you think it's crazy to date your half sister?
Yes. Although one wise Kardashian once said incest is best. Just saying.
Listen, incest was a way people stayed in power for thousands of years. If
incest is best.
Incest is, Game of Thrones has taught us that.
Yes, Cersei, the Lannisters. Hello.
Okay. Yeah, you want hot blonde kids?
Question though, is incest more acceptable if it's with same-sex couples because they can't reproduce, or is it still equally bad?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Is it okay because they can't have babies? Because the whole thing about incest is the science
it's
of
the
it,
babies.
right?
It's the incest babies. Yeah.
It's the science. So does the fact that they're both women and they're not able to reproduce, they're half sisters.
Also, the fact that they didn't grow up together.
They didn't grow up together. They met each other, and they're like, "I like you. I like you. You remind me of me. You remind me of me. Let's get together." And Caesar. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, they're like, "Hey,
Yeah, I know. I'm becoming a little more lenient on little like surprise stories, surprise incest like this because I did 23andMe, and the amount of cousins that I have in the area and around the world that have different last names because they're like my fourth cousin, my fifth cousin, my whatever the fuck, that I'm like, the odds of us hooking up are very high. I'm just saying because I would have never known. You don't have my last name. I've
There's a
never
lot of
met you. I don't know.
So what does everybody think? I mean, is it okay? I mean, honestly, it's a weird topic, but I just thought it was easy, and they've decided to continue dating each other until they get their results back.
So that's a little weird for me, just because I'm the type of girl that like I won't date a girl that has my name. Like I just think like little things like that are weird, like or we look too alike, something like that. So like I'll dump people for weird things like that. So being a half sister, I'd be like, oh sorry, babe.
Sorry, we got the same daddy. Can't help you anymore.
Yeah, it's a little too awkward. Yeah,
can't help you there. All right, that's fair enough. And then finally, what did I have here? Yeah, I don't know. That's when if you look at their TikToks, they one of them changed their hair color, and they're like, "We're staying together until we find out."
Okay, she's not.
And finally, what do we have here?
Are you mad?
All right, we have No Name's Way.
Yes. How many do you have?
3 questions, 3 short ones.
You tell them, Cora.
Cora, tell chat to calm down.
Yeah, you guys, come on, settle. I have 3.
I can't believe that we both have 3 dogs. It's insane to me.
3 dogs. Why do we do
we
this?
both have 3 dogs. She has 3 little dogs. I have 3 big dogs.
I have 2 little, 1 big.
You have a medium dog.
Medium size, yeah.
You have a medium dog.
Yeah, you have a fucking 3 huge dogs.
I have 2 pit bulls and 1 German Shepherd, and she has 2 Chihuahuas and a microphone.
And a lab.
All right. No Name's Way is our anonymous advice column here, where people submit anonymous questions and we try to deal with them on chat. Here's the first question coming in. From, why are my names so weird here? Hold on a second. Oh, questions. This is coming in from One Bad Daddy.
Okay.
I'm not worried about the abortion laws. My pullout game strong AF. Except for my 3 kids from 2 BMs. If she gets to decide whether to keep it or not, shouldn't I be allowed to abandon it? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean.
Yes.
Now that's the girl. I'm allergic to latex. Plus, my pullout game is strong.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Don't worry about these abortion laws. We're in California, girl. No, I'm keeping my legs closed in solidarity with the women of the world.
Exactly.
All
right. Well.
Find a condom you like, man, because it's gonna be a new world out there. Girls are not gonna be falling for that shit. I'm sorry. Here's another one. This is the one I saw earlier. Why are the people who vote against abortions the least fuckable? Because
is that where you got that from? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right, and then here's one last one here. Don't want to save her, but I have the means. Okay. Let me put this up on the screen here.
That sounds serious.
All right, here we go. Don't want to save her, but I have the means. I am seeing a new one that is from a low-income area of LA. She is hardworking, but has always been poor, and although we have dated for 4 months and have gotten close, she still lives at home with her family because she has to help them cover rent and food costs.
Oh.
She has a few small-time bills that are mounting up and complains about it, but every time I offer to help me, she tells me she will handle it. I saw her CC bill poking out from her bag, so it was like $1,200 to get her back up to date. So I sent in a money order. She was stressed because she was going to default on her payment, but saw her on her phone, get surprised at something. I acted dumb, but she got mad, asking me what right I had, stormed out. Did I do too much? Not sure what to do.
Okay.
Signed. Why can't I see the names at the same time?
Something about save her.
Oh yeah, that was the cover of the questions. Well, don't want to save her, but I have the means.
Yeah. Oh, you start this one. I'm conflicted.
Oh, Captain Well-Intentioned. Okay.
Captain Well-Intentioned. All right. Captain, more like Captain Save-A-Ho.
Exactly. I mean, you're aware of the mistake you made, right? Now, yes. Let's give you the male perspective, and then we'll let Sophia chat on it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
do I subscribe to the Captain Save a Ho, don't save her, she don't want to be saved, don't save her, she don't want to be saved narrative? Yeah, I think that this is an issue that nice guy or well-intentioned guys have, where they try to solve every woman's problem. This has to do with your upbringing. This also has to do with the relationship with your mother, if you're looking at it from a psychological standpoint. And a lot of guys will seek out women that they try to save, and especially guys that are maybe, they're not like jocks or what have you. They're just kind of average dudes. Maybe have a well-to-do job, and then they find women that might be in a position where they can be helped. Then they're like, and then there's the other side where, say, a good-looking woman can sort of park herself in a successful man's life and just kind of be like, hey, look, this is, I'll be your, and I'll just come along for the ride, right? And some women do that. But more often than not, it's the same thing when women come home and tell you their problems. They just most of the time want you to listen. Guys have a tendency to hear a problem that a woman says and immediately come up with a solution, right? So she'll tell you about somebody at work, and then all of a sudden you'll be kind of, yeah, well, why don't you just do this, this, and this? Or, hey, like, hey, I have this problem and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, well, I can call my cousin Charlie with a truck and we'll go do it. And then, so sometimes, and this depends individual relationships, women don't really want, they just want to be listened. They just want you to listen. They just want to vent, and they don't necessarily want you to come up with the solution for them. They have to go through their own process on solving problems and their relationships, etc. If I'm looking at, obviously, I'm looking at it from my relationship experience. This is not a clinical diagnosis or anything. So if you're definitely the breadwinner and you do better, and $1,200 isn't nothing to you, depends on how long you were dating. I think it said 4 months. So 4-month new relationship, you do a lot better than her. She's staying with their parents because she needs to help them out. She's stressed out. She all of a sudden gets a notification that her credit card bill is paid off, and she gets mad and storms out. She felt like you were trying to buy her, basically, or that you were trying to claim her completely, because once you start making those things, then you're basically saying, I own you. That's so even though you might have been well-meaning, it was more of a power move relationship wise to try to lock her down, because even if you think you're just helping out and it's nothing to you, to her it's a lot. And if you want to be in that place to be able to solve her problems, then you need to be more direct up front and say, hey, I know we've only been dating for 4 months, but I really care about you, and I want to be able to help you with some of these things that are affecting your life because I have the means for it. So I want us to take the relationship to that next level where you will be okay with me doing this for you. And if she doesn't, and she's not ready for that, then let her do her thing. By you just taking that shot and paying that much money, it feels like you're trying to stake claim. And it sort of feels like you subconsciously thought, this is the way that I can solidify my position as the boyfriend. So check your intentions and sort of really be honest with yourself about why you did that, and give her some space. Don't try to solve every woman's problem. Don't try to, be a captain. That's a mistake young guys, and even as much as well-meaning you are, is they try to solve every woman's problem. And women are independent. You can't woo them with chocolate and poetry. You got to have, it's got to be a fit. It's got to be like a thing. It's like, there's a lot of
poetry would work for me.
There's a lot of inbred things that we have and things that we're taught. And look, this boils down to what kind of men you had around you growing up from men, right? How men act and how men treat women when it comes to dating is very often learned from your parents, your older brothers, your cousins, your friends, and older dudes that come around you. Some of them, men will tell you straight up, when you're growing up, that ways to control women or things that you should do as a man, and what kind of women you should seek out and how you should be in a relationship. The game, I guess, is to be sold, not told, right? So if you're around toxic or overly masculine males when you grow up, or you grow up in that environment, that's what's going to shape how do you deal with women in your relationship. So take a look at why you feel that it's okay to do that, as well meaning as you could be. And for men out there, it really it's well meaning, but it's kind of a, I don't know if it's a microaggression or something, but it's something that you're putting out there to try to stake your claim and to own her. And I think that's how a woman would feel from my perspective if you try to overreach and do that, because then it's going to be like, do you mention it all the time? Like, is that something you're going to bring up later on when she's like, blah, blah, blah? Well, I paid your credit card bill. Like, like it's leverage.
Yep.
How do you feel, Sophia?
I agree. I think you covered all the bases, honestly, because on the man's perspective, why are you doing it? What are your real intentions? Is it because you really care about her and you just want to help her out? You worry about her? Or is it because you want power over her? That's something you need to figure out. You're the one who asked the question, so I'm sure you know your intentions. From the woman's perspective, I don't know what her intentions are, but what I can say is that there are different types of people. There are people that don't mind accepting money. And if you throw it in their face later, they'll be like, well, fuck you. Or they'll just ghost you, or they'll break up with you, whatever, right? There's a lot of women that will take your money gladly. But then there's other women, and I would say that's the majority, where we are accustomed to men buying us drinks and then later expecting sex. There's always something, and there's some women that are like, fuck you, I can buy my own drinks. And then there's other girls that are like, I'll take the drink and then I'm just going to swerve you. I'll figure it out. This sounds like the type of girl that doesn't want, because you will expect something. You know what I mean? So I think that, 1,200, was it?
Yeah, 1,200 paid off her credit card.
Yeah, 1,200. I mean, if that's not a lot of money to you, that's cool, but that's a lot of money to her. So
yeah, it's probably like a whole paycheck. Like she needs that paycheck to pay bills, this and that. So she's only paying the minimum, and it keeps adding up. And all of a sudden, you're like, it's gone. Sure, it's a good thing, but
it's like, are you going to, like you said, bring it up in a fight later? Are you going to use it against me? Am I now your property? Are you going to expect things from me? So it sounds like everyone here is a good actor. Let's just assume the best. He's a really nice guy who just loves her and wanted to help her, right? And she's a really nice girl who just feels really guilty and doesn't want to get the money. I would just say the fact is she got upset. So maybe apologize, take it back, and just help her out where you can. Maybe with, what's that love language? Acts of service. Maybe you can help her with gas, little things, right? Things that you don't necessarily hold against her. I don't know, help her by buying her a meal. I don't know, little things like that. Maybe don't even help her at all. Maybe just be the shoulder to cry on. Maybe just be there for her. That's it. But she clearly feels uncomfortable by you helping her financially. So I would just say, don't do that. Apologize. Just say, hey, it was a nice thing I was trying to do. I'm very sorry. Like, I obviously misread the room. Hope I didn't offend you too much, but I like you and I just want to support you. And there you go. So I don't think she's wrong by getting offended. I don't think that you're wrong by wanting to help. I think that everyone had the best of intentions, but that's just a society that we live in. So taking a big chunk of money from a man, I wouldn't do it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, like the male perspective is like, wait, what? I'm just trying to help. I'm just trying to do it. But you're doing these things subconsciously. There's little dudes back there that are looking at things from a whole different perspective in your brain, and they've been created by all the shit that you've learned over your whole life and the trauma that you've had and how your perception of women is. So even though you in the present say, hey, I can do this because I have the money and I have a job that makes a lot of money, more than her, she's also a person from a poor background in a poor area of LA. You have more money, she still lives at home. It is an act of kindness that is also veiled with like an active power in there. So it's kind of a weird spot. So give her time, apologize, Venmo request her for $1,200.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Hey, she wants equality, right? Give me back my money if you're gonna get mad about it.
Exactly.
I'm not. No.
You're dumb.
Don't ask for the $1,200. Don't ask for $1,200.
Don't do it.
You'll make it worse.
She'll give it back if she really wants to. Don't worry.
Listen, all you got to say is, look, I apologize. I thought I was doing a nice thing, but I understand I might have been out of place in putting you in that position. Please don't give me the money back. I won't do it again. I just, want to help you. I was trying to help, and I understand if you need some time, but I still care about you, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I got you. Yep.
And if you're lucky, she'll give you like a $1,200 blowjob as a thank you. You never know. That's
oh my God, Lou! Not at the end of this podcast. Is this one? This one?
You can't get pregnant. You can't get pregnant from a blowjob.
Luis
Come on. Isn't that the answer to everything? More blowjobs? Because you can't. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, guys.
I'm sorry.
This is my official last week on this podcast. I'm so sorry.
I got through 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, you and I are the only one that's listening because chat is having a whole other discussion here. They have not stopped talking about abortion, like nonstop back and forth here. Guys, chat, you're all over the place here. I can't even catch up. Dizzy, debate for UW, OMG sticks, everybody. Back and forth. I know
Anything
you don't.
Notable that we should address or
No. I'm reading back. Everybody's basically just very. I think OMG6 is one of the only people. Let's just say, my wife would be happy if some other woman paid my bills. Already said she'd pay me out to an old rich later. Hey, listen, man. Open relationships are the future. That's what's happening. The guy could have asked, very similar to people trying to help handicapped people and taking their autonomy. Yeah, you can look at it that way too. You were taking a little bit of her autonomy by kind of forcing yourself to be the hero. You got a little bit of a hero complex. We're rocking in here, and I think we're being fairly respectful of each other, surprisingly, given this issue. I do agree. I haven't seen anybody that's gotten super out of line. I know you guys are very passionate about it. You guys have been bringing the facts back and forth. That's why if Sofia doesn't see the chat here since I'm running the broadcast, but I've been sort of like, okay, they're on their own tangent, and we sort of kind of keep doing our thing. I think we'll review it a little bit. But I do want to thank everybody. You guys are super passionate. I'm glad that you guys are having a respectful debate, and I think that you guys all have your own positions. We've stated ours. Mostly, like I said, I just wanted to address this sort of single topic this week, and I wanted to give Sofia here a chance to vent and to bring up some interesting stuff that I saw, and to say that here at We Too and Burrito, we believe in women's reproductive rights.
Yes.
As controversial as that might be at some point, even, which is crazy. So hopefully everybody else there could learn from it. Look at those resources, do your thing. Thank you for everybody for the passionate debate and the support. Make sure that you guys hit the follow so that you guys can be notified when we talk about other hot button issues.
Yes.
Sophia?
I just wanted to say thank you guys so much. Thank you for putting up with this fucking rant and depressing ass podcast about a state of affairs in this country. I know, but no, I do love that the chat is going off. That's awesome. Just thank you guys for listening, and this was a good episode. Talking about my body, my choice, motherfuckers. God, I can't believe that's controversial to say.
Yeah, well, it's my body, my choice when it's a mask, but when it's a baby, not so much.
Not so much.
So,
yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you, Dizzy, Lizzie, Cyro, for holding it down in the chat. Thank you, everybody that's new that stepped in. To and Burrito. Follow us everywhere. Me Gente Show on Facebook. We'll be back live next Thursday. We usually do Thursdays. Today we had to do Wednesday. But like I said, appreciate the interaction. Guys, keep that chat going if you like. But we're out.
Thank you, guys. Hasta luego.
Bye-bye. Where's this? Wait, I can't find the button.
We're still here.